to explain. Because we're usually on Discourse Syndicate.
I should tweet this out, shouldn't I?
Yeah, tweet. We're usually on Discourse Syndicate. But what happened was last week we did something, like, I don't know what we did. Apparently, like, we've got like animal abuses on our channel, and because of animal abuses, apparently the Discourse Syndicate got shut down from streaming. Hey, Sammy, I'm just explaining what happened last week. Discourse Syndicate got shut down from streaming live, so no one has been able to stream live since they took our video down, which was on Thursday. So essentially what that means is that Discourse Syndicate at the moment can't stream live. We're on our channel, which means we're probably going to have lower viewership this week because people are going to not know that we exist. This channel's only got 300 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed to this channel now, and click the like as well. But apparently what got us cancelled was the intro, which is what I'm going to play now because we're on our channel. So I'm just going to play it. Fuck it. Right? Are we in agreement?
Yeah.
Play the intro?
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
See if we get banned off this one.
Yeah. Cue the intro.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. It's not like,
man. Thank goodness.
And here we are.
What's the matter with that? There was nothing in there that was not fair use.
I don't know, but mate, look, I have a theory. You know how like there's that girl lying in bed and she farts at the end.
Yeah,
I've got a feeling she watched this and she's not having it. She's not having it. That girl.
She's sent a copyright infringement.
Yeah,
she wants to be paid for that stuff.
She's like, that's not my fart.
It's a bare bum. Did they say nudity is that one of the reasons why?
No, it was animal abuse. It was animal abuse because so
that animal was having the opposite of abuse.
Self-abuse.
It was like having fun.
No, it's I think animal abuse where that dude punches the kangaroo in the face.
Okay.
Because that's what everyone's going to go do now. We're just going to go punching kangaroos.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
face. By the way, if
copycat
anyone's
that.
watching, kangaroos are a fucking menace. They should get punched in the face. Like, people think that kangaroos are like a protected some sort. We eat kangaroos. There's too fucking many of them.
Exactly.
That's true.
I bet you that's some like
It's good
American.
meat, actually.
Yeah, good meat. It's like a non-Australian YouTube like reviewer, some AI.
Is
who
that really
doesn't
what
know-
we got flagged for? Animal abuse? And
As
it's
far as
because
I understand, it's animal abuse. Yeah,
That's so bad.
and so it has to be because of that boxing thing with the kangaroo.
must have been. Yeah, that guy who punched a
But that's
kangaroo.
on YouTube. That's like a famous YouTube thing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the reason he did that was because the
kangaroo was trying to
was-
fuck up his dog.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, is that
So, on this topic of censorship, right? Have you guys seen like the new laws they want to bring in Australia? The new censorship things that they want to bring in?
They want to have some sort of government department which
The
they want to sue.
Ministry
Yeah,
of
like-
Truth.
So they're trying to like take stuff down from Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, hey? Like, is that
They
what it
just
is,
want to be
basically?
able to like censor things on social media.
Yeah.
So they can control the narrative. Obviously. Like,
Yeah,
why
'cause-
would governments give a shit about that unless it was to control the message? They want to control the message. And if you like are not telling the same story clearly from their action, from bringing like this sort of these ideas forward, this sort of like wanting to like legislate this sort of thing, it just goes to show you that they want to stop like,
so it's pretty
people
obvious
speaking their
it's
mind.
pretty obvious. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that Facebook complies with anything governments want to do in that sense. Yeah, but Twitter is going in the opposite direction. Like, Twitter is like the place of free speech now, and they're not going to I think Elon has said he's not going to stand down to government. So does that mean that Twitter is going to be banned in Australia? Is that where it's going?
I don't know, dude. But it's not ideal having governments like go down this path, because we sort of like, when you see governments get this way in history, it doesn't work out well for the citizens, does it? It sort of ends up with like you having to shut the fuck up, or like get taken into jail, and can you imagine like if it was like if you couldn't just say some regular shit? Like, can you imagine if what we said on this show was deemed to be illegal, and then they're knocking on your door?
Well, they're not
going
knocking on your
to,
door. They're
like,
just taking
taking
it
you to
down
jail.
from social media. So it means
but hang on.
people
No.
are accessing your stuff through a VPN. In reality, that's what it means. And people who don't have a VPN to another country are not able to see your stuff. Well, that's what happens in other places in the world.
I see this sort of thing as a thin edge of the wedge. And if you start going down this path, it ends up inevitably at the other end of the wedge, whereas like, people knocking on your door saying, hey, you broke the law.
No,
It's like, yeah, but I just said that like that politician stinks like shit. It's like, well, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not a nice thing to say. Like, whether the people.
Everything
Sorry,
is
Sammy,
getting
go on.
digitalized. Like, for example, today I was at work and I work for an insurance company, and they brought out an app, right, for business customers. So they have to have their app on in the car. It monitors their speed, where they are, what they're doing, like the whole time. If they don't have this app on, if they have an accident, they basically nearly double the access if they're at fault. And they're saying that this is not to punish drivers for bad driving, but if you are a good driver and you rate above 85%, then you get a 15% discount on your premium every month.
Wow.
So it just still reminds me of, stalkerish behavior. Everything is getting digitalized. Human touch is getting less and less more common. It's just wedging the whole of society apart.
Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah, people being coerced into doing certain things because it's better for the hip pocket. And I think we see that like with government as well. We see companies do it a lot, and we see it with government. They're trying to make you behave in a certain way that, so we'll see like where this is going. But the same will be true for, things to do with money. I think there's like when the CBDC comes in, eventually, people will be coerced into using it because it's going to be like financially beneficial. There'll be some sort of discount, some sort of benefit for them to use that new system rather than like the old system. So they will not, I don't believe they will force people onto it. I think they will just say, hey, why wouldn't you be on it? It's like cheaper. It's like better for you. It's better for your hip pocket. And people will, I think, go down that path naturally. It's just like, for example, like cards, credit cards and all that sort of stuff. They're just convenient. So why would you pay cash when you can just carry around this piece of plastic and go around paying? Meanwhile, like 20, 30, 40 years down the track, now when you buy something, the merchant is getting slogged like 2 to 3% for that purchase. 2 to 3%, right? So, it's like building in middlemen into the system. So,
I feel sorry for the older people, the older generation that just aren't tech savvy, that don't have the internet or really know how to use it, or have family members or friends who can't teach them that. That's the people I feel sorry for, where there's not a lot for them. They're people who still use mailways and phone books. They don't know how to Google. It's very confusing for them. And they're the people who get left behind. But companies think of money. They don't care about the old people. They'll digitize everything and just expect that of everyone.
Yeah. And just to explain, by the way, g'day to everyone in the chat. You're probably, I did explain it at the very beginning, but the reason we're on this channel is because we fucked up really bad last week. When I say we, I mean it's my fault. I believe it's my fault because it's like I made the intro, and I believe it was the intro that got us like taken down off Discourse Syndicate, and also they got like, I think, a week of no live streaming because of it. They got like punished. They got a slap on the wrist thanks to me. So when I went to set, and the only reason I found that out is when I went to set up the stream on the Discourse Syndicate channel, it wouldn't let me. So, and I did set it up on all the other Discourse Syndicate channels, and I saw someone asking why we're not on Discord. Because I wanted to play the intro here, I just took down all the Discourse Syndicate other channels, like, Discord, and I don't want to get them in trouble. I feel really bad that I got them a strike. I feel really bad about that. I don't want to be responsible.
It's so random and obscure though. Like, how do you even know what you're putting up is? There's no clear rules anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But
like, if
I
you
agree.
put up a little clip that's on YouTube, and that's supposedly animal abuse, and it's just funny because like the kangaroo's fine, the guy who's punching the kangaroo's fine. Like,
yeah, if you watch the rest of that clip, the kangaroo just goes, "What the fuck," and just bounces off.
Yeah,
like it's not like the kangaroo like is distraught, like emotional damage, needs a fucking therapist. Kangaroo does not give a fuck. Just fucks off. No, the kangaroo for a second thinks, "Should I fuck this dude up?"
Yeah.
He just sits there and goes, "Should I fuck this dude up?" The guy turns around and runs off, and he goes, "Nah, fuck it," and just jumps away. Like, just
that's so funny though. That whole clip is just hilarious. I see it as your sense of humor, 43. That's all I see, and I find the intros really funny and amusing. Just bad luck, YouTube. No one has a sense of humor anymore.
Do you know what the other thing is? It's like they only picked up on that last week, supposedly.
You've been having that for ages, yeah.
I've had that for like 2 years. That has been in our intro for fucking 2 years. That's why I believe it's a lady. It's a fart girl.
It's
I'm
got
sure
to
it's
be
a fart girl.
No, it's got to be someone reporting that, because I don't think their algorithms would be able to pick up that, would they? Like,
I'm telling you, it's the fart girl.
it's someone reporting
She's
it.
not happy.
It's a bare
And
bum. It's probably the bare bum.
The bare bum. You
boyfriend.
reckon? No.
Who's
Yeah.
that?
Because
Oh,
you
the
know,
bit-
once
is that what no, but it's animal abuse. That's what the
Yeah, they
reason
said
was
animal
given.
abuse.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, it's just a weird one. Because
weird.
you know, I had like a lady with like her titties out on a ladies discourse show, and like she had clothes on, but you know, you see like it might have even been a cartoon, and they took it down. They made them take
I mean, I
it
think
down.
the
Was
way
that-
to go
was-
now is to
that the
be
thumbnail?
on Rumble.
Yeah.
Like the way to go is to
Yeah.
be on Rumble and Twitter, and then go on YouTube for the extra views, but don't have that as your main thing. And if you're ever kind of like, yeah, light it, like that'd be funny.
I might have to add that in. Hey, some effects.
You know, it reminds me of kind of like, though, in the 80s, they had all these like pirate radio stations, like in England and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because you needed a license to broadcast, and there were people just popping up in their houses, like, because they just wanted to play their own music and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
And, you know,
this
like-
channel didn't get like this one. We have a copy. This channel here is like the simulcast channel for the HEX Late Show. And last week, the episode that was on this channel did not get taken down.
So we didn't get a strike
you know,
from this
you can't-
channel. We only got a strike from the DS Syndicate channel.
Yeah.
So that would
So
that
I
would
think
say it's somebody reporting us. Whoever you are,
someone reporting.
you're
it.
an idiot. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Reporting people for that kind of stuff. Like, come on.
Naughty boys and girls.
So,
They taught us a lesson.
So, what about PulseChain? What about the whole ecosystem? How's everyone feeling in this accumulation stage?
Yeah, just
Louis?
liking that. Well, I'm enjoying farming, and you know, like it's always a bit of a decision as to what to turn the ink into. I've kept a little bit of it and put that into another farm, but like basically, it's that's the kind of interesting thing for me at the moment is ink and what to do with it. Pretty much, I'm cashing it out nearly every day or every couple of days, depending.
Yeah.
Into something, whether it's this or that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you guys are have really jumped into that new part of the Richard Hart ecosystem, that whole farming thing. I've sort of just chilled back. I don't as I've mentioned to you guys and other people countless times, I'm not looking to click any more times a day. I click enough things every day. I don't want to have to do any extra thinking or work. So for me, I like the HEX stakes because they just set and forget. I love that. I don't have to think about anything. I just all I have to know is when a stake comes off, or
And I
that's it.
I love
right?
having something to do. Even before I set up my staking ladder before Big Payday, I made it so that I had a stake coming out every month, because I just thought
Really?
I don't want to be having years where have got nothing to do. I want to have something to do all the time. Yeah, just make a decision. You know what I mean? Depending on where everything is going and stuff.
Yeah.
Doing the farming is like playing the pokies every day. The first thing I do is wake up and look at my farms. That's the first thing. And now HEX has come out. I'm farming on there as well. So
Oh yeah, fucks. That's pretty cool, hey?
Is that what it was called? I thought it was HEX.
HEX? Not that it was fucks.
Yeah, it could be. You're probably right. But
that's the whole. Yeah. Well, it's Fiat. So Fiat, fucks. They got famous.
And famous.
It's all F things,
famous. Yeah.
I suppose you can say
it's
Fiat.
Pulse. Isn't it PulseX UX? PulseX UX. Isn't that what it stands for?
I think it's
User,
no fucks given.
User experience. Well, it's a fork of Balancer. It's pretty interesting because what you do is you create your own pools. So you can create a pool with multiple things in it, and set how much percentage of that is in that pool.
Yeah.
So it gives you a lot of flexibility with how you design your pools.
When Tangent comes in, maybe you should do a bit of TA on the ink price because I want it to go back up.
I don't think it's gonna.
I can't believe how low it's gone.
But it started off that low, and then it shot up, and it's still kind of higher than when the first couple of days. In the first couple of days, I was cashing it out for $4. Then it was like I went up to $7. I was like, woohoo, $7. And then it just went berserk.
I went to 80. 80 bucks.
That was.
Did you guys sell? Did you sell the fuck out of it at 80?
At 80, I was selling it like twice a day.
I didn't even think I'd gone to the farms at 80. It was only the first week, wasn't it? First 1 or 2 weeks.
It was pretty quick, yeah. Pretty quick up and down.
Can I just say to you guys in the chat, I've put like a tweet out there. Can you guys go and like share this on social media just so people know that the Hex Late Show is live at the moment? It's just they're not going to know our channel.
Yeah.
So if you can put it out there, would really appreciate it. I know there's only like 36 of us in here. Usually we're like probably double that.
I've shared it and retweeted.
Yeah, and I've done the same.
So yeah. How are we feeling? Like, I feel like we've been through the toughest part of the bear.
Oh, I think there's still a bit more to go.
I do.
I think there's more to go.
I'm not saying it's over.
Yeah.
I think we've still got bump and grind to go, and we might have like the odd whatever, depending on what happens. But you know, you can rip at any time. We could rip at any time. It's not like we've seen that before where you just don't know and then it just rips.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like it's going to bump along for quite a bit, and it might even go down a bit more before it starts kind of... It feels like people need to get really, really just completely disillusioned before it can go up. I don't know. I feel like there's too much hope. There's too much hope still.
I don't know. I don't know, dude. What you think? Like those people have to like sell, but won't the price going up just be an influx of? Will it be an influx of people?
New people.
Like it just needs to be an influx of people buying.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what makes the price goes up.
That's right.
More people buying than selling.
So,
the thing is, as well,
from that perspective, who gives it? From that perspective, who gives a shit what the people already in are thinking or doing? Right? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
What matters is like when are these new people?
Yeah, but the thing
is
those people who are really kind of like, oh, I just wish it would go up, and they've been like that for so long. Then as soon as it does go up a bit, they sell it back down. So it's kind of got to have those flush outs still, and I have no idea. A lot of us predicted that Hex would be a bit more immune to these bear markets, but it hasn't been the case at all. It's come right back down to where it was.
It's been
pretty big payday.
Like super. It's been even more volatile. It's like more volatile than some of the other.
Like
we
it's been
thought
just
it would
as
be less
volatile on the downside as well.
On the downside,
yeah.
Which you know, that might be good. I mean, that might be a good thing. I know that sounds like a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah, it might flush out people more quickly. Hey, yeah.
Like that really sounds like cope, doesn't it? When you say, "Oh, it might be good that shit." It sounds like some fucking major cope. No, but what I mean is like maybe that's just like the way this system will work. It's just going to be more volatile. It is still.
I mean, one thing that
I guess it's not that early anymore. It's 3.5 years in. We're almost like it's not that early anymore. Although we've only had one bull run. Well,
that's it. And like, you know, when I'm sort of onboarding people, I tell them you have to think of this stuff as long term. And when I say long term, I mean minimum 4 years.
Minimum.
Like
minimum.
if not 8, 10 kind of thing. Really is what you should be thinking.
Sometimes
so we won't really know.
4 years is 4 years is like traditionally has been a cycle.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes you need 4 years just to work out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, now, like if you've got half a brain, then you're like, oh, now this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
For the next cycle.
Yeah, it took me 4 years.
But then you're going to wait another 4 years.
Well, it took me 4 years to take profit, to be honest, in crypto. So, it's not get rich quick overnight. You just got to hold on, and you got to just keep learning. But in regards to what's happening in crypto right now, we've all been beaten up like nothing else. We've got this CDBC, whatever it is, coming. Gary Gensler's after all of us, trying to shoot down crypto. All these coins getting
Gary Gensler, the
American.
American.
You know what's good? I mean, it doesn't matter. This BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, it's sort of like with all this chaos and rubbish going on there, just like this bright light shine that says, we're bringing out an ETF. And now there's been calm ever since. Would you agree?
The hope comes back in, yeah. It feels like they were just flushing people out so that they could come in themselves.
Yeah, probably. Wouldn't surprise me.
The thing is that what was I going to say? I just
I'm really not sure about all that really big macro stuff though. Like I know that I guess it has an effect on Bitcoin, but it's kind of like in the end it's really just kind of like if people are buying or selling, and like a lot of people aren't like don't care about any of that stuff. You don't base their decisions on any of that stuff. And so it's kind of a little bit of just rationalization for people who are in the market.
I heard Adam Stokes saying that this was like his prediction. And by the way, I think that stream got taken down. So I don't know what the fuck is up with YouTube just taking down streams left, right, and center. They took down Adam Stokes' stream, Sunday night stream. And he said in that, he was saying that he thought that BlackRock was going to
come in big,
like do this spot ETF. They're going to do this spot ETF. And then eventually he said he's predicting that they're going to probably want to hijack Bitcoin, and they'll try and do it by like forking it into a proof of stake protocol and then try and hijack it that way. That's what he said that BlackRock,
so we get more. So everyone who's holding Bitcoin gets more coins now.
Well, he said they may not fork it one for one. They might fork it in a different way or something. I don't know. And then they'll probably fork it in a way that it has more, like it doesn't stop at 21 mil.
But no one's going to use it if it's a shit CBDC type Bitcoin. Like it defeats the whole purpose of it.
What was interesting is that he's like, well, the only reason they're going to try and do it that way is because there's no way that they can defeat the mining, the way the miners are set up and all of that. It's like they can't overcome that. Like they can't just overtake that thing and like and win out on the mining side. So they're like, the only thing we can do is make a proof of stake.
Yeah, but anytime they try to overtake anything, people are just going to start using something else. Like you can copy paste these chains, and it's about social consensus. It's about numbers of people. And they haven't got the numbers of people. They've just got their centralized entities.
They haven't got the numbers of people right now, but if they've got the ETF, they might have the numbers of people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if they've got the ETF and they're controlling
some people
the influx of
people might speculate on it, but it's not going to be like the censorship resistant one. And so people aren't going to use it as their long-term store of value who could be censored.
Dude, do you know what I was thinking this week? Like I think of it like you think, but the problem, and I was thinking of this just today, is like the way that we think about things, like, censorship resistant, like the vast majority of people do not give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. And that's what our battle is. Our battle is to make them.
Yeah, they don't
until they do, but then it's too late. No, but they only do when it's
not necessarily
when it's too late.
No, and things evolve. things happen. Like, yeah,
But
okay.
all the people.
Okay, if the Australian government,
I think
if they overtook this, let's just play into your fantasy. Let's say that they did some sort of thing where they managed to get it into proof of stake, and they managed to have control over it, and so now they have control of it. Now they can start censoring people. They start censoring. There's a big demonstration.
Money, yeah.
They go into all of those people's wallets, and they freeze all of their things. As soon as they do that, everyone else starts dumping their shit and going somewhere else. So it's a useless power. It's kind of like the OA's power. The OA has the power to dump, like to kill their own project, and that's it. Like it's a kind of a useless power. So the more control they get, the less interesting. As soon as they exercise their control, like it becomes less valuable. So they're in a bind.
By the way, I'm not sure if I totally agree with it being a useless power. But it's an interesting one. It's interesting, right?
It's a very interesting one.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like if someone forked it, right? If someone forked the protocol, like a hostile fork,
yeah,
then the OA would have the power to.
Well, not if they
shut it down.
Not if it was a hostile fork, then they would just cut out the OA addresses.
How?
It's just a copy paste.
How do you do?
It's a copy paste. If it's a hostile fork,
dude, I would love to speak to a dev who understands in depth the contract and whether you can just do that. Whether you can just.
Well, I think you can't
do that within the HEX contract.
No, you can't on the HEX contract.
I'm not talking about just like.
No, it would have to.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about.
It would have to be. You mean they fork it on Ethereum again or something? They fork it on a chain that it's already on.
No. I don't know. I'm trying to follow your.
I guess it depends what kind of fork you're talking about. If you're talking about just copying, like literally copying pasting the HEX contract, but calling it something different and putting it out on the same chain, then
or a different chain. Yeah, the same chain or a different chain.
Yeah, then it'll be this.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, if it's on a,
I don't think it matters.
It depends if they have control of that chain. Like if they did what like Richard did. And copied.
I don't think so,
Ethereum,
dude. Because the HEX contract is its own. It's got its own.
But they can
thing going on.
But if they're copying a whole nother chain, then they can edit it how they want on the copy.
How can they edit it? It's
immutable. they just cross out the addresses.
But it's immutable.
But not on
okay. I don't know. Like that's why I want to ask. I would love to ask a dev who understands. Like, is it possible to do that? Because
it's just data.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just data. So it is possible. Whether it all works and how difficult it is, maybe that's another question. But like,
yeah, does it? I mean,
it'd be a pointless thing to do anyway.
If they change some of that stuff, would it just break? It might just break the contract. The contract might just go fuck it and just shit itself because like everything.
Because it's not. Well, no. Every time if it was sending stuff to the OA addresses, but the OA couldn't access those addresses. I don't know. It's all kind of like irrelevant because it's not going to happen because it's like that much work for what anyway. I mean, someone has actually the Phoenix is a protocol which actually like really replicates a lot of the HEX design in a lot of ways, but is actually a lot more efficient. And they don't have an OA, and so we're actually seeing that experiment play out.
What are you talking about? Like what? I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, like what's?
Well, there's like
I don't like talking about like
all this other stuff.
Like, no, I don't like talking about it. I don't like putting it out there because I don't know anything about it, and then it might be shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't, and I like to understand something before I talk about it.
Well, I mean, I haven't. Yeah, look. I know a little bit about this, and I haven't like invested in it in any way, and so I can just talk about what they did without any kind of conflict of interest. It's interesting what they did. I don't think it's been very successful, but it also depends on how you measure success. You know, people are using it. If that's how you measure success, it hasn't like had this kind of tons of people pour into it. It hasn't like shot up in value or anything like that. So who knows how it plays out over time. But it's basically they took the principles of the HEX contract and a number of other contracts, and they did things like they made end staking way cheaper than what the HEX contract had, and they have no OA, and it's you burn Zen to get it, so it's based on fair launch principles, and it's got a few things that are different in terms of how it's designed, but it's like you could compare it as a kind of HEX without an OA, and I guess we'll see going in, and it's been launched on many different chains like Zen was, so it's going to have many different versions of it as well. I mean, people are doing all sorts of experiments. Hey, there's tons of it's pretty exciting, this whole area for that reason, just the experimentation factor.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm very, when it comes to stores of value and thinking about the future, I really don't think that there's anything that can compete with HEX. I really don't think there is. Just for that, just in crypto,
in terms of store of value, in terms of price go up over time, or
in terms of making a decision about the future, and then like having the incentives line up in a way that really push you to like meet that commitment that you've made. Like the structures of the in the contract, it's set up in a way that you really want to see it through to the end, because it's just so much better than early end staking.
Here's a question: how much more would have HEX dumped if we didn't have Hedron and ICOSA?
You're assuming it would have dumped more.
Yeah, I think it would have dumped a lot more. I know I would have had to have sold more.
That might have got more people out.
That's true as well.
So it might have already bottomed.
Hey,
hello, sorry I'm late.
No tangent.
Like we're talking about like whether if you did this, what would happen.
It's impossible to know. It's impossible to know.
I know, and I also don't think it's like a binary thing that like if that happens, then this would have happened, like, and that's it. Like it's things are complex. Like,
what do you reckon, Sammy? What do you reckon, Sammy?
About what?
Okay, would HEX be at a lot lower price now if we didn't have Hedron and ICOSA come along?
Yeah, so I absolutely think that HEX would be a lot higher now if Hedron or the Maximuses. Yeah, I reckon it'd be in a better position. PulseChain. Well, imagine all that economic energy. If it only had one place to go, which was one HEX on ETH, then I think that'd be doing a lot better.
But a lot of people didn't sell HEX and didn't have to sell HEX because they had money coming in through Hedron.
True.
So who was buying the Hedron?
There's nothing wrong. You know, I love Hedron, Bluey, but I'm just saying, like, if they didn't exist, it would have been better for HEX, really, in general. But even Richard Hart knew that, and he forked it. And I mean, it's already got a massive supply now. It's got a doubly, massively monstrosity supply. True.
By the way, I don't want to in any way talk shit on Hedron. I fucking love Hedron. Hedron's awesome. I will not like allow anyone to talk shit about Hedron. Hedron is fucking awesome. Alex did an awesome job. He's created something excellent on top of HEX. If it has kept the HEX price lower or could have pushed the HEX price higher, whatever it's done, I think it's good because it's made the ecosystem bigger and better.
Yeah,
and more interesting.
Of all the things that could have possibly distracted economic energy away from HEX, I think that is one of the least guilty of being purely that effect. Like, so we don't know for sure how these things work. Like you were saying, 43, when I came in, complex systems. I'm always saying this to people. You've got complex systems. You don't know how, you can't just say, oh, if this, then this, like, because there's too many things. So one example is you could say that it's distracting economic energy. And while that might be true, and then Bluey gave the example of another thing that could happen where it is not, like where it's actually going in the other direction. So
And also, like, think about how many more 5 stakes there are because of Hedron.
Tons.
Like, so many people did 5 stakes. That took a lot of HEX out of the circulation for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, you can't deny these things. These things have happened. So that's why it's so complex. Like, it's not, you know.
The other thing, I guess, is that because he did it, it showed other people that you could do stuff like that. And it's, in a way, kind of opened the idea to the ideas of all these other things that came in.
But Hedron didn't do a sack.
No.
I think the person or the team that is guilty of kind of like, and unfortunately that's a project that I really like, but the idea that people could do sacks other than Richard Hart would have happened at one point where someone did it, and if it raised a lot of money, which it did, then people would have been like, wait, this, and then notice the thing that I'll note here, because I agree with Sammy's general comment that once you have like more distractions, so rather than it getting personal about a specific project, the general comment is definitely true. That once you've got like this, like diffuse paths that economic energy can go, it's less likely to be focused on HEX. But notice how the further away you get from the original, the more bullshit it gets. Like, so, like, I would almost say the same thing of Bitcoin as well, right? Like, when you're in a specific category, like, so in the altcoin phase, in the ICO phase, in the SAC phase, in the, like, whatever category of raising of funds you go into, the further down the line you go, the more it's just people looking at it going, holy shit, I can get a fuck ton of money from doing this. Let's go, baby. Like, so you get
NFTs. NFTs. That's the
yep.
perfect example. Hey,
every example that you can give in crypto, the further along you go, the more it changes from legitimate attempt to innovate to straight up cash grab. Now, look, there are exceptions to this rule. There are people who scam right up at the start of the shit, and there are legitimate projects that happen at the end. But I'm just saying, as a general trend, it gets worse and worse as time goes on.
And maybe it's a process that just needs to happen. You know what I mean? It needs to have those bad ideas flushed out. And people lose a lot of money, but it's kind of like that's the market working. You know, becoming more efficient.
Yes, I agree. But unfortunately, so it does work like that. So say take ICOs as an example. ICOs, it got to a point where no one was investing in them anymore. Everyone realized it was just bullshit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, then it pivots into something, a different category of shit, which is new and fresh again.
Yeah,
so people do learn, and it does kind of like the market does sort itself out. But then if someone can come up with something that sounds different, when ultimately it's always the same thing, right? It's what was that? IDO and like I think unfortunately Saks was a category of that.
Yeah.
Saks was a category of that. It was like a new mechanism for
relabeling, basically
funding a project and unfortunately, just like every other category that I'm referring to, eventually it devolves into straight up scammers and cash grab motherfuckers that just don't actually want to build shit and don't want to better the community, just want easy way to get free money.
So the best one that I think existed or happened was like the maxi people, because you were not sacrificing, you were pledging HEX into a contract that's going to stake it as a pool, and then at the end, if you keep your redemption tokens, then you can exchange those redemption tokens for your principal and interest at the end. So that's like the best version of,
because you're getting something.
I'm not going to say a sack.
You're immediately getting something.
You're getting,
it's not like, and it's the same with the Hedron and Watsons and everything. You immediately got something, even like with
you got something, but at the end you can redeem your original HEX plus more. So it's like it's far superior to almost any other form of sacrifice.
And a lot of these other
things
things
ever been out there
that we shan't name that have had sacks, like this, they're still not out. They've had a long time and they're still not out. And maybe there's good reasons for that. I don't want to knock these projects because I don't know where they're at and what they're dealing with or anything like that. But like some of them, it's just like, why the fuck you had years to test stuff out, and you still haven't got stuff out now. It's been how long since PulseChain launched?
And
it's
also,
maybe been only a couple of months.
At least update on why, like you said, to explain why it's not. Do you know what I mean? There should at least be an update to say why it's not out, because PulseChain's been running for a while now.
Yeah.
43. I was going to say, particularly the first one, the actual maxi token itself was fully benevolent. There was no advantage to the team. There was no, like, the ones that came afterwards were like, there were slight benefits, which is fine, but there were slight benefits to.
But you could have partaken in those. You could have partaken in those benefits, like because like it was going towards the
good
team.
Point. Yeah.
And stuff.
Yep.
Well, maybe there was some
I take your point. I take your point, Tangent, because you're saying like with Maxi, it was like you got whatever percentage of the pool that you put in. If you keep those tokens at the end, you'll get like the full amount of yield, and also a Hedron at a 7x.
It was a benevolent creation.
Hedron at a 7.
It was a purely benevolent
so there was
creation.
And not. I was just going to not that the other ones were like they're just a little bit different, because what they did is they tried to work in some game mechanics into them with like maybe I think the Hedron component not going to like a Deci, Lucky, Trio, and Base. So they did other things with that, but it's not like they were just putting it in their pockets and running off. They like created some other stuff to do with the team token. Like it's like complex stuff, which I never looked too deeply into. I like the whole idea of creating something that, you know, made it a pool and it was it's trustless.
You know, they're about to launch
that's what I like.
They're about to launch their newest thing, which is Pool Party.
Pool Party.
Oh yeah, cool.
Which
can I just say, even though I said Hedron, like I'm basically generalizing. I said Hedron, like basically it's better to focus on one thing. But you know, I loved Hedron when it first came out. Like no shit, I had like over 20 grand just sitting there. Like that's amazing to like, you know, just have 20 grand. Like
remember when freaking Unwrecked said that he like bought like a shit ton of electric bicycles or something with all the Hedron? So, I was like, dude, it's still real money. Like, as in, if like this is something that I think sometimes people don't realize in crypto. And this is not aimed at Unwrecked, but like I think Richard has had to educate about this as well. Like, if you have something that can be converted into the money that you think is real money, then that thing is real money. Like it's like you
absolutely.
can't like so an incentive token is the latest example of that.
I know, it feels free.
So people feel like it's free. They apparently it was the highest wallet that holds incentive token is now a sacrifice wallet, and so people obviously treated it like, well, I got this for free. It's not like it's worthless, kind of. To me, like, got it for free, so I'm just going to sack it into one of these projects, see if that takes off. But you could also sell it for Pulse, so it's like and I'm not saying that's the best play. I'm just saying once something is worth money, then there is an opportunity cost of you just throwing it away, like spending it on electric push bikes or a sacrifice for a project or whatever. It's funny.
But that is an interesting situation. So now we've got a competitor to PulseX comes along, and
oh shit, I didn't even think of that, dude.
And they are holding the largest wallet of INC.
Oh, bro! Oh, you rookies!
So
you
what are you?
You fucking rookies!
What do you do if you're like Hexy bastard? Like, what do you do with that? What do you do with that INC? Or how do you do it?
Oh, bro, just
because start. Also you've also come along that you're all friends with the whole system and Hexagon and PulseX and everything like that. And
there's only one thing to do, bro: blackmail. Blackmail. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's a real nice ecosystem you got there. Be a shame, be a damn shame if someone came along
and dumped your INC to zero.
and just totally
But like,
wrecked.
But then what would happen if they did do that? Would people buy it up at such a reduced, like if it dumped down 99%? Depends how much they still had left or something. Hey?
What do you do with INC? What do you do with
Well, you
it?
can farm it.
No,
you can farm it to get more.
Farm it.
Farm it to
Yeah,
get more.
You can farm it. So why wouldn't they farm? Like, why don't they farm it and then use the proceeds to benefit their protocol?
Maybe they farm it on their
Isn't that
own
what they do?
platform. They set up a massive.
Well, but there's an entity.
Oh, yeah,
there's an
yeah.
entity that chooses what gets those rewards, right? So if that entity saw that someone was doing that, then they can either change the bonus multiplier or remove the farm altogether. So there are certain
No,
things
but
that
if they
you
have
do
a
and
big
don't-
bad of it, they could give it out to their liquidity providers. Like if they want people to come over and provide liquidity on their platform.
Oh, you mean
They-
hand out
What's
the
that giving
incentive token as an incentive to provide liquidity? Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
and they can compete.
That's
They can even
smart.
compete. They compete with the
Like
other
with
platforms
higher bonuses, like
about
higher
how much.
APRs.
Yeah.
Higher
they're getting
APRs
two
in the
incentive
same
tokens.
token.
They're getting their own one, plus they're getting the.
That's a
IFC.
short term, but that's a short term play because eventually that's going to run out.
Yeah, because
yeah,
on
but
PulseX
does
they've
it
got
matter?
unlimited.
By the time you run out, you would have vampired the entire liquidity from the entire protocol and be the number one DEX. Oh, also, there are another couple of advantages that other DEXs can play. Like, no offense to anyone, like no offense to PulseX, but PulseX hasn't been very friendly with like getting correct logos on coins, whereas like Fux and 9inch plan to actually like work with projects to have the correct logos and shit like that. Whereas like PulseX is very, what's it called? Like hostile to projects that are not like a very small subset of projects. So, I mean, I think this is going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out.
So what do you
I really
think
like
of
the
the Bitcoin price? Tangent.
So, sorry,
When you say they're hostile,
sorry,
can you
not
just go into that.
not hostile, but like, you know how we used to give a lot of shit to Uniswap for like not listing HEX, not having it, not showing the logo, having warning messages come up saying this is a scam and shit, or this might be a scam. So like, I would.
By the way, those messages are still there. They're still there, even on matcha.xyz, which is not even a DEX. It's like an aggregator.
Yeah, terrible. It's terrible. But my point is that, so I think perhaps PulseX could benefit competitively with having a fairer way of coins being able to display their logos. So, i.e., you could just do it where it's outside of your control. You say, if your contract address has a logo on this particular coin ranking website, then your logo will show up. So you're almost like, then no one can complain and go, oh, our logo is not showing, their logo is showing, or whatever. Shut the fuck up. Get your shit listed on there and then you'll see it. That would be an easy way to handle it. Or some kind of way that you could submit logos or something like that. Like, I just don't like using a DEX where I'm selecting coins that are fucking legit and it's coming up with like question marks. It just, I don't know. Look, it's probably the OCD in me that
dude,
it's
early days. It's early days.
Yeah.
It is very
Doesn't
early.
bother me.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's something that I've
days.
noticed that these other DEXs, because everyone's like, no one can compete against PulseX, no one can compete against PulseX, but like eventually, if you provide a better experience with things that people care about. So for me, my OCD gets triggered when I'm selecting a legit coin and there's a fucking question mark. So
do you remember like early on in HEX, like really early on, go.hex.com? Do you remember how shonky that experience was?
Yeah.
I remember, dude. I remember needing to. No, dude. I did a staking ladder. Like early on, I remember they didn't have the calendar there.
Yeah.
They didn't. This was like 6 months in or something.
Like how many is 1,000 days?
Dude, it was 6 months in. 6 months in, and it's I can't remember when it was, but they didn't have a calendar. You had to like work out the days,
Yourself,
and I like had
manually.
another window. Yeah, like a window open with like a date calculator where you could put in the days, and like it would give you the date of when it would, you know, if you add on like 200 days, where would it be?
If what you're saying is
Dude,
that PulseX can improve, I think that's great, and I think that having competition forcing an improvement, it's a bit like crypto forced banks to have instant transfers. I can transfer using a bank now using that OSCO thing. You guys seen those OSCO transfers?
Yeah.
So I can send bank to bank to someone not my own account and have it instant. That would have never happened if it wasn't for crypto. They had to compete.
Oh, yo, can I tell you something that happened instant? I sent a telegraphic transfer to Europe.
Instant.
This morning.
They've got to compete, man. They've got to compete.
And they got it, and so it got into the account the same day, like within the same working day.
See, notice how you sound impressed by that, but they should have fucking had it like that the entire fucking time, bro.
Yeah.
I've never
dogging us.
Absolutely.
I've never heard of telegraphic transfer. What's that?
It's a wire transfer.
It's like, it's just data. It should be instant. It should be like an email.
Yeah.
Like it should have been instant the whole time. And the only reason they have delays is because they want to do all of this crazy, like up your ass with a microscope, checking to see, like, try and make sure. And
dude, you're so right.
And there's another reason,
way over
so that they can profit off the gap. Because if there's if there's billions or trillions of dollars of transfers a day, and then they can just delay everyone by 3 days, they've basically got a rolling balance of billions of dollars that they can earn interest on that you don't, because it belongs to no one while it's in transit. It's those two reasons why they just, and now they have to compete. So my point is, PulseX is going to have to compete, which is great.
Yeah, it is. It's great. Yeah. It's going to have to get better. And 9inch and all the other ones that are around, you're seeing a whole lot of them pop up now. And so we're going to have aggregators and fucks and everything. And
that thing with the, like, how on PulseX you can only have incentive or fees. Like, and that,
that's got to change.
I thought that was temporary. That's going to have to change.
Of course, you'd think that.
That's going to have to change. So,
how long are the farms going to go on PulseX? Because don't they eventually stop?
No, they'll be forever.
Why wouldn't they be forever? They would be. Yeah, I assumed that they would be. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I think the plan is eventually people vote on, like, you can see on Fucks, you can vote for where the rewards go.
Only within the official pools, though. You can't vote for random. You can't vote for random pools. You can only vote for the ones that they've marked as official.
What they say you're allowed.
I did notice that, which
remember
is fine.
Remember PowerSwap on ETHW. Remember their farm stopped. Tangent.
Yes, that's right. But basically, I guess, Sammy, maybe what it comes down to, and I'm kind of half guessing here, is if your incentive token gets to a point where it's just so wrecked that it's like going close to zero, then the farms end even if you've still got them operating, because the token's not worth anything. So maybe these things do have like a lifespan, but I think the idea is to kind of like keep them going and rotate them and shit.
Yeah.
At least long enough to ensure that PulseX dominates in terms of being the highest liquidity exchange on PulseChain.
Cool.
You know, I don't want to hijack the conversation, but I've actually been thinking about these things a lot lately because I don't know if you guys saw, I wanted to create a way that we can get like critical PulseChain news in one spot in like a high signal to noise ratio feed with no bullshit. So basically, when you go to that feed, all you get is the important updates for all the stuff that's being built on PulseChain. But obviously, that initiates the question, what is legit and what is not legit? Like, what projects are allowed to be on that feed? And so I started thinking of like creative ways to try and make rules for what can be in or out. And one of the ones I came up with was that at some point, Richard Hart has tweeted about that project positively, because then in my mind, that is like a pseudo seal of approval that it's not a complete scam.
Yeah.
But you guys let me know what you think in terms of, like, I consider so if I was making the list, Maxi and all the Hedron ecosystem, so the Hedron Icosa ecosystem and the whole Maxi and perps and shit would absolutely be in the legit category to be included in any lists and feeds and logos on the fucking exchanges and the works. And then obviously then it's a spectrum where, you know what I mean? Like some people would say even within the Richard Hart tokens, you could say that the incentive token is not as legit as PulseX and Pulse and HEX. Some people would argue that one of the hexes is not as legit as the other hex. So it's almost like we've got a spectrum that starts off with 100% legitimate. Nothing is there because nothing is 100% legit. And then you step down from there and you go through all the projects. And obviously the RH projects would be right up close to 100%. And then something like, I'm not even going to obviously name projects that would be down the other end of the spectrum. You know what I mean? And everything's in between.
Yeah. And what do you think about Bitcoin price, Tanja? You must be happy. It's been running a little bit.
You know what?
Let's talk about Bitcoin.
I was happy, but now I'm not liking this this pause in momentum. I know it hasn't been that long. I know it's only been a few days, and you know, Ivan on Tech was on there saying people are getting impatient, wanting a pump, but it's only been like a day or two. So just like, hold up. But
yeah,
can we look at the chart? Can we look at a Bitcoin chart?
For me personally, I'll bring one up. For me personally, when you have news as big as this BlackRock news, I want to see sustained momentum to the upside. I don't want to see this like, you know, oh, okay, it did have another pump recently within the last few hours.
Piss weak some.
So this is in like, so I didn't like the slow bleed. How do I share this? So I didn't like seeing that slow bleed where it looked like we were heading back down to 30 grand. I was like, that's not the shit that I want to see. Tab here, go. Got it.
After you do Bitcoin, Tanja, can you chart Inc?
Yeah, sure. I've never actually looked at the Inc chart before. So, actually, sorry, I did look at it. I did look at it like maybe yesterday or the day before, and it actually looked pretty wrecked. Like it was at all-time lows.
Tell me about it.
But I think it's fine. Like as in the fact that it's holding value at all is great. But see this chart of Bitcoin, right? We had this massive impulse because of this BlackRock news. It formed this flag, which I was stoked about. And then it looked like this here looked like it was the start of this next leg up. And this is typically how Bitcoin has been moving all year. It's just been stepping up in these flag pennants. But like this went only the tiniest little bit up and then it just bled all the way back down to basically, and when we went below 30K, I was like, I'm going to give this thing until 29. And if this thing like just continues just like bleeding out and goes below 29, I'm going to actually be genuinely concerned. But what happened over the last few hours is actually very promising. So I know it doesn't look like much, but I'm happier here than I am. Like, because this has actually broken this short-term downtrend on the hourly. So all of this shit, we're about to start making new highs. So so I was happy, then I was getting worried, and then now, without realizing it, because I hadn't looked at a chart, I'm happy again. So the short answer to your question, Sammy, is happy.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I personally thought that Bitcoin, probably about 4 months ago, I thought we'd be like way out of this territory and up towards 35K, you know?
Yeah. We should have snapped to at least 35. So see this target here, 34,500. Like like I'm shocked that we didn't basically just teleport straight there off this flag.
It has some of the other Bitcoin move, Tanja. I can't remember which. I don't know. I don't know if it was Mt. Gox or was some of the FBI Bitcoin. I can't remember. I did read an article that a tiny bit has moved recently.
I think I saw something about something moving. But I guess so. I'll tell you an assumption that people make that's not necessarily true, right? That coins moving means that they're going to get dumped. Sometimes people can be changing custodial services. People can be just like consolidating UTXOs. They can be, or they could be actively trying to spook the market, like someone, not necessarily these categories of coins that you're talking about, but there are various reasons why someone might move coins around. That doesn't necessarily mean, but everyone seems to just assume that a big coin movement means it's getting ready to be dumped. So I'm not too concerned about coin movements. We'll keep an eye on it.
Could be OTC as well.
This was definitely concerning me. This downtrend through here, just continuing to bleed. That was, if we had gone below 29, I would have been concerned. Because this is the biggest news, in my opinion. This BlackRock news is probably the biggest news in all of crypto ever.
Yeah,
like in terms of things that can like turn the market around and just go insta moon. Like it's massive. It is absolutely massive.
BlackRock, there was a number of other companies in all across the world that have followed BlackRock's suit and now filing for Bitcoin ETFs. So it's it just
haven't they been trying to like get a Bitcoin ETF for years and years now, and they've just been getting knocked back?
Other people have.
Yeah.
Other people have. Yes.
There is no spot
and so
Bitcoin ETF. This will be the first spot Bitcoin.
And so, what's the
ETF.
logic?
Yes.
Is that right?
In America.
So what's the logic
In
behind
America.
why that is so bullish for Bitcoin? Like, I don't quite get it.
Because it means legacy money can go in. Legacy money can invest in Bitcoin without holding the keys. They can just invest in the spot ETF and know that.
Well, spot ETF
BlackRock
means they have to actually buy the real stuff. Yeah, but like, it also means it can just try. It can gamble on a whole lot of stuff. So it means.
Yeah.
So I don't
in my opinion,
but that's how the legacy works. I mean, just think about like all the pension funds and stuff now can like properly invest in the spot Bitcoin price.
They can leverage trade on Bitcoin at spot prices. And so you think they're just all going to rush in and start getting leverage positions on Bitcoin, and that's going to send the price.
No, it's not.
And then if they do, won't people be shorting the other way and it just goes crashing down as well? Like, why is it?
No, it's not levered. It's not levered. It's spot. Like, so they have to hold. They have to hold 1-to-1. Like, so it's not levered.
Oh, I thought it was leveraged.
The reason. So I was just trying to quickly look up whether Canada has a spot Bitcoin ETF. But so don't quote me. I'm unsure. Right? Like, as in there may already be spot ETFs, spot Bitcoin ETFs in other countries, but also maybe not. This is definitely the first in America, if it gets approved, by the way. It hasn't been approved yet. But they believe that, you know...
How could BlackRock not get approved?
Exactly. You would... Like, they are not an institution that would want to look foolish with a rejection. So they would have made phone calls and meetings to ensure that they're not going to get rejected before they make the application.
Word on these crypto streets is that they've got a lot of politicians in their pockets.
Yeah, I saw a little DIY video. I saw an amateur filmed video that maybe they've got a few politicians on side. But for me, Bluey, the bigger deal is not actually them investing in Bitcoin, other people being able to invest in Bitcoin. How much this ETF is going to... To me, the bigger impact comes from legitimizing the idea of investing in Bitcoin at all for all institutions globally, and a get out of jail free card for people that work at any company. If they invest in Bitcoin and something goes wrong, they're just like, BlackRock did it. That was why so it takes away the need for like excessive due diligence. It takes away all the fear. It takes away the fear of people losing their jobs or looking foolish. They're like, BlackRock did it. So
I guess it means I guess it means they can hedge as well. So they could take a position, a position in proper Bitcoin, and then they could short it as an in case sort of scenario.
Well,
And
you're
the
right.
reason
It's
that's
another
good for the
tool.
rest of the market.
It's another
The reason
usable
that's
tool.
good for the rest of the market is because we assume that will push the price of Bitcoin up. And then all the regular degens who just trade
True
Bitcoin
as well.
will take their profits and put them into altcoins.
That's true as well. That like, if people believe that this will make the price go up, and I believe there's actually legitimate reasons for it, but even if there wasn't, everyone believing it means that people are going to buy because they want to front run. They want to front run the pump that would come with an approval. So I think there's only positives come from this. And let me be clear that I'm definitely not doing an appeal to authority. Oh, yay, BlackRock's coming to, like, institutions are coming. Like, I'm not doing that shit. I just know that it's going to move the price up.
You know, it's going to be really interesting in August.
Speaking. Yep.
Go on. I was just going to say, I'm excited about the price going up. I'm not excited about institutions being invested in crypto. I'm excited about the price going up purely.
So I was just going to quickly, just moving on. If you guys have finished talking about all that stuff, HEX Daily Stats was a website that a beloved website that everyone has gone to check out. Now that has been reposted. It's up again on a different site. It's on hexstats.today. So it's back.
Well, it's a redirect.
The website is back.
It's a redirect from the original site.
Is it a redirect? Is it?
Yeah, like as in, I just went to check
GitHub.
Okay, that's cool.
I think
that's
the guy
cool. That's good stuff.
The original owner of HEX Daily Stats, which was Tagosh, must have been involved in this some way to at least give the redirect.
Yep.
Well, I think
it was all open
someone
source.
decided to fund it or donate.
It was on GitHub.
No.
He had it all up. He had it all up on GitHub.
But
so someone just like re-put it up.
But to have a redirect from the original domain, you can't. That's not open source. Like, so do you get what I'm saying?
I don't think it's the redirect. I think some like basically rebuilt it.
Yeah. Yes. But what I'm saying is, the original person has to at least be aware of this and approving of it, in the sense that they would be the only person with the password to log in and create the redirect to the other domain. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you go to the original website,
I think he had it. I mean, I don't know the exact details.
Oh, you reckon even that was open to the public?
Yeah.
Surely not, because then scammers could just go on.
It was on GitHub. Yeah, it was on GitHub, and he said anyone can go and put a copy of this up.
Dude, you're missing my point. I'm not talking about the code that allows you to create a clone.
He must have.
I'm saying
I know what you're saying,
access to the actual web hosting that would allow you to do something like a redirect. If that was public knowledge, then scammers would just go and put up their own website that scams everyone.
He must have done that. He must have pointed. He must have pointed it to this the domain.
Yes.
He must have pointed
to get a redirect. You need the login and password of the web hosting company.
Oh, are you saying that if you go to HEX Daily Stats, that it just redirects to HEX
yes.
the new website?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Speaking of different domains, there's another website that's recently got a new name. Remember plsburn.com has been rebranded to gopulse.com. So now plsburn.com redirects to gopulse.com.
It's probably a better name.
The name of this website.
Who owns that site?
We don't know. Oh, actually, down the bottom, it's got
sponsors and backers.
Yeah, I think it's anonymous.
Sci-Vibe, Strong Hands, Pascal Finance.
Hey, there's a website.
Toys.
There's a website that does like effectively like what Change Now does, but it's like pulse focused, and I think it actually is just a front end for Change Now. And it's called what was it called? Someone sent me the link to it. It might be like buypls.com or some shit. Don't go typing random websites into your browser's viewers. But anyway, I think it is just literally a custom front end for Change Now that defaults to having Pulse as and obviously the color of the website is all Pulse colors, and the domain says Pulse and the title says Pulse, everything says Pulse. But I think from what I could see, because the way I worked it out was I tried to go Australian dollars into Pulse, and the exact same error message that comes up on Change Now, the one that says like it's whatever I forget what the error says exactly, but that same error comes up. But the thing that'll be cool about it once it is all functional is rather than sending people to Change Now, people will be able to send them to this website, which is more promoting and more favorable to Pulse.
Nice.
Mm.
And vendors can go onto that site to work out how to be paid in Pulse, hey?
That's right. I think that was, you're thinking of the same one, I think. Yeah,
which would be awesome. Man. I can't wait till like people start accepting crypto as payment for stuff.
Hell yes.
There are places in South America, I think, that accept.
Well, El Salvador is
I think
pretty down that road, isn't it?
Yeah.
Central America.
See, there's a you have to also be in a place where you feel safe as well. You know, they did round up a lot of criminals apparently from what I saw on.
Yeah, they reckon they just they just rounded up everyone that was a gang member. Even if someone just said that guy's a gang member, they just get him and just put him in jail or some shit. Like,
where is this? What are you talking about?
El Salvador. They went like super tough on gang crime, where it's like they made a task force specifically for arresting gangs. And basically it was like a witch hunt, where if someone accused you of being part of a gang, it was like no questions asked, no judge, no jury, no trial. They would just grab you, arrest you, and fucking chain gang your shit. So, but maybe there was a way to like then get out.
Why
of
would
it
you have
if
to be
actually?
Well, that wouldn't being able to have that ability to be paying crypto actually be even better security than having an ATM card or cash. Like
wrench attack, my friend, wrench attack.
Yeah, but if you don't put your whole bundle on your phone or whatever, you just put enough that you need for spending for the week or whatever. Every now and then you put it back a bit more on. And so like if you're carrying around a card which they can go to a bank and has a number and they say give us your number, that's a wrench attack. If you're carrying around cash, that's a wrench attack. Like
wrench attack. I think it's
like
it doesn't matter how you hold
crypto
your
is not going to change any of that. If anything, it makes it a bit more secure.
By the way, I found that website. Sorry to cut back in. I was very close when I said buypls.com. It's buypls.app. So BUY.
I'm about to bring that up.
.app. It was Gold Key that tweeted it out. It's effectively it even says powered by Change Now. I don't know if that was there before, but dude, that looks nice. That not sick? Because it's a clean looking site. It promotes PulseChain, and it allows people to buy and sell direct to Pulse and has Pulse set as the default purchase. So whoever created this is very smart, because if we're all going to be using that site anyway, we might as well be using a Pulse branded version, right?
Is there a max? Does it max out?
I think the same as the other one. I'm pretty sure literally this is literally just a direct front end to Change Now or whoever Change Now uses.
And what is the max?
It depends. It actually depends on what you're doing, like on what you're buying. Because I messed around with like trying to buy different shit just to see if I don't think the Australian dollar shit's working yet.
All of this shit doesn't seem to be working right now.
This pair is currently unavailable. Please try again later. That's just to try and do Australian dollars into ETH, which you'd think would be like basic bitch shit. Let's try dollars into Bitcoin.
What else is there?
Try Aussie dollars. Maybe it only works if you're in the country.
Let's try BTC.
Let's try US dollars into Bitcoin. No, into ETH.
Yo, if it doesn't have US dollars into
it doesn't have US dollars into ETH. What? You know what? Maybe the server is like being upgraded or something. Let's not be too. It is new. Like, at least the crypto to crypto works. I've been using that.
That's it. Right.
You can go Bitcoin straight into Monero.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, you can.
You go to
you can.
Monero?
I was half joking, but yes, you can.
All right. Let's check it out.
So you can, you can change. You can exchange your. So the crypto to crypto side of this is working, and I think they're probably obviously working on the fiat side, which is always the harder part on all of these things, particularly because this is anonymous. Oh, but I guess your credit card's not anonymous, is it?
No.
No. Oh, dude, you can change Ethereum for Ethereum, and you get 0.989 Ethereum for one.
Bro, as ridiculous as that sounds, that's a really good way to check fees. Like that's smart to see. Like,
I thought you were about to say that's a really good deal.
yeah, because Ethereum's going to the moon, bro. Don't worry about the fees. It's going up, bro. It's all good. You're gonna make more than that in game. You're gonna make more than that back.
I'm gonna change all my Ethereum for Ethereum after this stream.
So you can't go the other way, though, hey? You can't go crypto
to go into fiat. Maybe if you're a merchant, because
how does that work?
Wait a second. Have I just thought of another way that you can get crypto back into fiat? Pretend to be a merchant and then buy shit off yourself. So you set up a merchant account with BitPay, and you have an anonymous customer that's you, and you sell them a fucking pony picture.
Why would you want to? Why would you? If you did that, you would, and you did it over a certain amount, you'd have to pay like sales tax. So I don't think that.
Yes, but keep in mind that is effectively the game plan of every like laundering businesses for laundering. That's the whole point, right? Like, you're willing to pay the tax to legitimize the funds. The problem is you can't explain where they came from. You've really got two problems, right? Like explaining where the money came from and also having to pay tax on it. The bigger problem is the first one. And so and I know this is not supposed to be a tutorial on money laundering, but like that's basically you're solving one of the problems if you do what I just said, where you set up a merchant account and then buy shit off yourself with anonymous funds. But you are right. Yes, you would need to be aware of that.
Consulting fees, no sales tax. Tim Top, what are you talking about?
Nice one.
No sales tax.
What
are you talking about?
Yeah,
like where are you? Where are you that there's no sales tax?
In Australia,
if you're under a certain threshold.
No, in Australia,
but if you're under a certain,
you can be a sole trader, and as long as you have an annual turnover of under $80,000 a year, and I only know this because when I started my first business, I was a sole trader, and I didn't have to be GST registered until you cross that 80K
over that
boundary.
Yeah.
So, but you are right. Also, after that point,
you also don't need to charge. This is in the if you're supplying goods to an overseas client, you can supply goods to an overseas client and not charge them GST if you're exporting to them.
Oh, and you prove that they are not. You prove that they are not under that jurisdiction.
You would need an order.
You'd have some evidence. Like you'd have the shipping address. You'd have some evidence that the shit went offshore.
Yeah.
And by the way, keep in mind that 80K I said, it's revenue, not profit. turnover is just a synonym for revenue. But in this particular example that I'm giving, where you're selling pony pictures that you drew yourself, your cost basis is 0. So your profit is your turnover. So it's the same thing for this particular imaginary business. But yeah, interesting. Interesting. All right, speaking of tax, here we're at the end of a financial year. So all of that stuff is very relevant.
Yeah.
Even though our viewers absolutely hate the shit out of it when we talk about.
I keep hearing this, but people get fired up when we start talking about tax. People do get fired up in the chat. By the way,
you mean engage? So you're saying it's good for engagement, like it's engagement based.
Yeah. People.
It angers people.
Some people definitely angers people. If I could start talking about tax, people crack the shit.
Fucking angers me. But yeah, what were you about to say?
I was going to say, did you guys see the tweet by the Twitter person Hexy Babe on Twitter, saying that she got scammed or lost? Like I guess we still don't know exactly what went down with that, but apparently she lost like a lot of Pulse.
Yeah,
somehow
she did.
How long in the is this a new community member that was?
No, she's been here. She's been on this
ages.
show, and she was at the very first HEX meetup in Australia, in Brisbane.
Bluey's meta.
That's super scary then. If someone that's like been in the community for that long and knows all the main basic kind of like don't do this, don't do that kind of shit for them to get scammed, that's scary shit. Do you know what happened?
Yeah, she bought a new Trezor. So she bought a new Trezor from Trezor.io. Downloaded a new wallet, went to send 500 million Pulse to her Trezor.
She bought it from the manufacturer and it was a scam.
She said she's bought.
We don't. The funds haven't moved.
Yeah.
The funds haven't moved, so it could be that she just sent money to an address that she doesn't have the private.
This is how I would.
I'm definitely not. So I'm definitely not accusing the manufacturer, by the way, because it could be a virus that changes the address when you paste it. Those exist. That's not the wallet's fault.
That's what apparently happened. Tangent.
So
she didn't know where this address came from. So she's transferred the money, the Pulse, but doesn't know where this foreign address has come from. And now she can't find the Pulse anywhere, right? So she gets frantic. She spent 6 hours doing this. She gets frantic and goes into the chat rooms in Telegram. There's scammers everywhere in there, and they feed on this kind of stuff. So they've seen her put out a help post. Straight away, a fake Das Bomb. So Das Bomb is one of the main Telegram admins. All the rooms. Go to Richard Hart guy. So, and they've all got, all the bigger guys all got fakies that follow them, scammers, right? So this fake Das Bomb messages her and says, I'm going to help you get your crypto back. Let's look into it. So he tells her this is an in or out wallet or something like that, and the transaction's just stuck, and that he's going to help her get it back. She's stressing. She wants her money back. And then he says to her, but I want you to put, she sends her a link. I want you to put your seed phrase into this, and I want you to put five Ethereum in this wallet. And this is because she ended up ringing me, and I said to her, you didn't give him, before she told me, I said, you didn't give him your seed phrase or anything. She goes, yeah, I did. She goes, now I've got nothing in that account. He's cleaned her out. Absolutely. And she had a little bit of Bitcoin in that wallet. And I said to her, straight away, try and move that Bitcoin as soon as you can and get it out of there. So that's what's happened. And I've got a Telegram chat, and I've said,
I still don't understand. I still haven't quite understood what's happened. I still haven't quite, like, it's not clear to me.
Too. If someone says they've lost their crypto, they're the first ones to say there is such thing as getting help, because in crypto, you're not.
She'd already sent it, right? But hang on, she's already sent it out and it's gone, right?
And then they took the rest.
And they
Yeah,
got
but
the
what
rest.
about the 500? What about that how much Pulse was
Half
it?
$1 billion Pulse.
So that where like that's still stuck in an
In
account,
this
right?
mysterious address
what-
that's appeared. And you know, I sent her a message 43 saying that, you know, you want to reach out, and she sent me there's 2 addresses she sent me that has got these got her taking her funds.
Doing chain analysis can only get you so far. I think that what she should do is probably use like a Rabby wallet, because the thing about Rabby is that when you connect your hardware wallet to it, you can choose like the legacy. You can choose the Ledger Live derivation paths. You can choose like BIP44 derivation paths, and also you get like heaps and heaps of addresses that you can click on and see if there's any funds in there. And also it gives you the like. I just think that you also need to do that, because if this money has gone into an account that,
I agree.
you know, I just don't. It might have. Is it possible? I mean, I don't want to give her a false sense of hope, but is it possible that she's sent it to an address
that
in
actually
a
does
Trezor
belong to her? Like,
yeah,
that belongs to her in her Trezor. Like, I would want to look at those avenues, you know, as well, because apparently, from what Par Excellence is saying, the funds are still in that 885 account before she got hacked.
So are
that's before she got hacked, right? And that's what I would be thinking about doing. Connect up to a Rabby wallet, and don't get scammed on the Rabby wallet. Make sure you go to the Rabby website and get the right Rabby wallet, and then connect up through that, because that's going to give you the best visibility of all the addresses in the Trezor.
So is there malware that like when you
yes,
copy paste
that
or
exists.
something,
Yes,
it pastes
yes.
a completely different address?
It recognizes if you have copied an Ethereum address and changes it. And some of them are so sophisticated that, sorry to get worked up. Some of them are so sophisticated that they actually look at the starting and ending digits and use vanity address generation to come up with something that so most people, they don't check the fucking whole thing. It would take like an hour just to do a transfer. So they just check a few at the front and a few at the end. And so they generate something that's as close as possible to what your one actually is, and edits your clipboard on your computer, so that when you paste the address in, you're sending it to them instead of you. It's wild.
Yeah.
That's why that function exists on Trezor and other hardware wallets, where it shows you the address and you can look on your screen and go, is what I've put here the same as what it's showing me? Because the hardware wallet won't lie to you. Like, it is actually generating it off your seed. So if you do that check properly, and so now you have to do a few at the front, a few at the end, and a few in the middle, at least, then you can't get scammed like this. If that, and we're speculating here, that's not necessarily the mechanism of how she got fucked, but like, or if it's even fucked at all, but that does exist, man. That shit does exist.
I also, if she's listening, don't trust that computer anymore. I would not be using that computer. You need to, like, I'm not going to say burn your computer. You need to, that needs a clean, you need a fresh, clean install. And when I say a fresh, clean install, I mean like you need to reinstall from scratch.
The good thing
and
about
how would you get that malware on your computer? Like how does that get on there?
All ways that you could
clicking on a link.
All the ways you could normally get
clicking on a link,
downloading something, running a file,
brand new Trezor.
Get an email.
Brand new Trezor though. Pretty sus, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not.
Sammy, notice that this particular attack bypasses the hardware wallet, because what happens is, if you're not checking what it says on your hardware wallet versus what's on the screen, and then you're actually clicking the approve button on the hardware wallet. So you're actually bypassing it for the hackers. You're signing the transaction because you get what I'm saying? Like, because basically
you're supposed to check you need to check the address on the wallet,
Exactly.
because the wallet will make you click
Yeah.
through, and you'll see the address on the wallet. So if it's the wrong, excuse me, the wrong address, you will notice at that point, and you can reject it on the Trezor.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, like she's saying that like she can't access that address, but like how? I mean, my question is, I mean, maybe it's gone, maybe it's just gone, but I would want to check. I'd be checking the all the other addresses in that wallet, or at least some of them.
Yeah, I would
that would be me.
Because remember, you can actually go on someone else's computer that you trust and just go on their web browser and get the MetaMask extension or Rabby extension, and then plug your hardware wallet in. So you don't have to go and buy a new computer. You just have to go to a computer that's less likely to be infected, and then I like your idea 43 of like just going into Rabby and seeing all the wallets that you can get, like all the wallets that belong
the addresses
to you.
What's the link to Rabby wallet, guys?
All right, hang on. Let me check it. I'll find. I mean, you'd be using like a Chrome browser or a Chromium based sort of browser.
Any Chrome based
and
browser.
it would be in the Chrome web store. But I think if you go to, let me just check what the Rabby website is. Don't look on. Do yourself a favor. Don't look for Rabby wallet on Google. You're gonna get like fake ones coming up.
Tangent, you're muted, bro.
Never search for any shit to do with crypto. Just always go to something that you know is legit, like their Twitter or their Telegram, like something that you are already sure that you have the legit version for, and find the link in there, rather than like if you're searching, then you can get fucked. Like as in you might get fucked up by these sponsored ads. Even remember, it even happened to the PulseChain bridge. People were using sponsored links of it was Pulse Ramp with 2 R's or some shit, and then people were getting scammed. So it's like that won't happen to you if you're not like, oh, what's the link for the Pulse bridge? Then if you went to, but so say instead, if you had gone to the PulseChain Telegram or Richard's Twitter, like you can go on Twitter and you can search at Richard Hart Win, and then the word bridge or the word wallet or the word fucking whatever, and find Richard's tweet that's got that link. Like, so just take the extra step to make sure that you're always getting the right link. Don't trust Google.
So it's rabby.io, and I've just posted that in the chat here. And from there, it will take you through to the Chrome web store, where you can add it to your browser. Another
thing that you can do if you're like, oh well, I don't have anywhere that I know is like the reliable source. I find that using an AI is actually pretty good, because the AI doesn't try and scam you. So if you were to grab an AI chatbot and say, what's the website for what it needs to be internet connected,
I wouldn't trust that.
But no, but as in the AI is not incentivized to give you the wrong link. It's just going to look at the links and give you the right link. Like,
I
guess it depends how your AI is set up, and it depends on this shit. You need it to be internet connected, which mine is, but like a large language model doesn't have an incentive to scam you.
Yeah,
like
but so what? Yeah, but who knows? Like that shit's like Google search, to be honest. That's just like an advanced Google search, basically.
Because people can't put those sponsored links, because it's the sponsored links that stuff everyone up, because the sponsors get to go at the top. That's not probably a great idea, but I do it. I now use an AI to search the internet rather than Google.
Retrostatic also just mentioned, like, check all your previous MetaMask addresses for her. And I was just thinking, what if she accidentally put in, like, she made the burner MetaMask? Did she use that address instead of
I was thinking the same thing.
The attached Trezor.
Can you imagine?
Like, it sounds like human error on the first one.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if the funds were not actually lost, but because she rushed into thinking they were lost and panicked, that she handed her seed phrase over and then lost everything? So the moral of this story, which I was going to say anyway, is when something, don't panic. You need to slow down. if you've done something wrong and you've sent funds to the wrong address or to a scammer even, it's that part of it is probably already too late. Like, as in, there's nothing, like, rushing can never help you. If it's lost, it's lost. If it's not lost, it's not lost.
Yeah.
So
it's hard. It's really hard though. Let's be honest. It's very, very difficult in crypto because it's not like there's a call, like there's no call center, there's no support. And if you do ask publicly, every single scammer comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah, so that's the next step.
Every single scammer.
DM people that you can see the chat history. I know all this stuff sounds really obvious in hindsight, but I had a weird glitch on Twitter for a bit where people were DMing me and the history was not showing. And my immediate reaction was, this is a scammer pretending to be the person because there's no chat log history here. But then I would go and check the shit and it was the right person. And later I found it was just a glitch where the chat history was just not showing for people who I actually had been talking to. And when I went on my phone, then it showed up. So it was literally just a bug. But that should be like your immediate, like, if you don't have a long chat history with the person, then you shouldn't be interacting with them, particularly not if you're in an emergency situation.
Yeah,
absolutely. And also I take back what I said before about like wiping that computer. Don't use that computer but don't wipe it. Yeah, because it could have the forensics in it. Because it could have some shit like here, you might have the burner MetaMask, so if you wipe it, then you're fucked. You wouldn't be able to check. So, and that's also
even just
another
to
reason
find out
why
what happened, like to do the forensics on what happened.
You should always keep the seed phrase of your burners.
I do.
I know. It's like, you're going to keep your seed. You may not have to hold them with the same
security as
you might security level.
Yeah, you just put them in your password manager. I just put them in my password manager because there's no funds in them anyway.
It doesn't exactly. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, it's a good thing to do. I hope Hexy Babe can work it out and find these funds. You know, it sounds like it doesn't sound good, but maybe it's just been human error. Let's hope for her sake it's been human error and it's gone to like an address in the Trezor that she doesn't realize where, or she can't see where it is. Or maybe it's the burner address or something.
My heart goes out to her. She spent 6 hours yesterday just pulling her hair out. She's not really that good, to be honest. So I think she just has to digest this. But I did send her the
was she able to get in touch with like Papa Boner or someone who's like sort of...
Well, that's what I did. She said, can you message Richard Hart? I said, Richard Hart doesn't respond to any messages or emails these days. He'd never reply. So I did message KDP, but she was actually really unwell last night. I said, I'm sorry, I was in hospital. I said, just don't even worry. She goes,
holy shit.
Funds are probably lost. And then when she put the feed up, Dust Bum actually put in our Telegram chat, I'm happy to have a chat to Hexy Babe and, also use that time to educate her because, she lost her life.
You're saying the real one this time?
The real one. Yeah, it's the real one. But, this lady lost her life savings in 6 hours. And we've all got so much. We've all got something to take away from that and learn and be really careful. And just remember, not ever give your seed phrase to anyone, anything. Don't click on any links. Even if the king calls your house and demands your seed phrase, you tell him that he can't.
Yeah, as someone
especially then.
And like if you're someone who's actually helping people, you'll never ask them for their seed phrase.
No, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember,
exactly. You never need to help people, and we've done this before, Bluey, you and I.
Yeah.
To help people, you actually don't ever need to ask them for their seed phrase. You can help people by just directing them on what they need to do, and you should never. That's the first thing you need to tell people. You never need to know.
You could be like, and at this point you need to enter your seed phrase or whatever, or like you need to whatever, and I'll look away. Like if you're in the same room as them, you know what I mean? Like you actually don't need to know it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Hey, there was a Richard Hart tweet where he said, if someone DMs you, you need to be many, many, many more times more skeptical than if you DM'd them. Do you guys remember that tweet? That was from a while back.
Well, can you imagine how many scammers message Richard Hart now? And do you know how many Richard Harts are out there, fake Richard Harts are scamming? There's so many scams, guys. I've been reached out, by scammers and said, been trying to sweet talk and tell them I got free crypto. Anyone anyone that's an admin that DMs you, they're not them. So don't ever trust. And if you're unsure, go in the main chats and publicize it all.
And you can report them if they're scammers as well. There's plenty of people impersonating me in Telegram as well.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, look, someone's just lost their whole life savings. I can't just call the cops.
No. I think Bluey's saying in general, digitally.
No, if someone.
I know you can. But it's not really.
If you get a message from Blue Bubble on Telegram, it's probably not me, and so just report them.
Yeah. That's all.
I think Bluey's just talking about like the digital reporting, not the calling the police thing. Although in most countries, in most countries, the police claim that they want to know about this kind of shit, even though there's literally nothing they can do. Even if it's just for like their statistics or some shit on like how many people are getting.
To call the police. That's like
same.
Sounds so ridiculous. Yeah.
Do you know when it can be reasonable, like a reasonable step to take in these situations to call the police, is to get it on the record so that you don't get fucked later for tax, because theoretically there are tax implications when when you move crypto or whatever. It's theoretically a disposal or whatever, however it would work. Like your tax accountant would have to decide how this shit is categorized. But you know how like when your house burns down, when your house burns down, you lose all your shit. You tell the authorities like, hey, I lost all my tax records in a boating accident or whatever. Like, so that later you get it on the record up front. Because
my house burnt down in a boating accident.
And you're like, it was a houseboat. It was a houseboat. But I'm saying sometimes it's better to get it on the record, like have an official record of something happening, so that later, if you get asked, like, if they're like, hey, you owe us this tax debt because of all this crypto or whatever, and you're like, it got stolen, I got scammed. If you've got a police report from like months and months and months or years earlier, they're going to consider that to be much more legitimate than you just being like, I lost it in a boating accident. So that would be the only thing that I would say might be of a benefit of reporting to the police, just so that you get that shit on the record. Other than that, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Speaking of boating accidents, every day that passes, we're getting closer and closer to boating accident season.
Bro, that's
bull
true.
Market, baby.
That's true. so much more time being spent on boats. You're just statistically more likely to have a boating accident when you're spending so much more time on boats.
We've got the HEX cruise coming up, the HEX Pulse cruise in Sydney Harbour.
Oh boy, you guys are going to have a lot of boating accidents?
Chris is flying off that boat all over the place. So when is it? Sammy, you want to tell people when it is? And
so October 13th to 15th. So that's Friday through Sunday. We got canapes and drinks at the Occidental Hotel on the Friday night in the Sydney CBD. Saturday we will have an afternoon cruise on the harbour for about 4 hours with drinks and canapes. Saturday night's basically do whatever you want, or let's just hang out together. And Sunday is a brunch. And then, you can do what you want. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got 70 people coming. So, and we seem to be getting more and more. So if you're interested.
70?
Yeah, we have.
Wow, that's massive. That is properly big.
I know.
For a bear market or for a low market.
Well, the
Huge.
thing is, we've got 70 people on the Friday night, and a lot of them are Sydney siders, don't forget. But then we've got people who don't like boats, so they're coming on Saturday. They're coming on the Friday, not the Saturday. And then we've got
They've all had bad
Scared to
experiences.
have a boating
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah, so but it's going to be a lot of fun. And anyone in Sydney, come on down, come into the city.
Or rather, they're not ready to have a boating accident yet.
not for a couple of years.
They
Wait for the
need to
next ball.
reschedule for the bull market.
But you know what's good about the meetups, and I think I said this last time, is you actually get to meet real people. And I know for me, like I still have dudes call me from Sydney, from Melbourne, and we talk about crypto. Say, Sam, tell me how to do this, or what is going on, please. And we'll do a Zoom call or just a chat. And I'm happy to go through, because if they can put a face and they know that someone's not speaking shit, and you get to meet friends and teach what you love, which I love crypto. That's all for free. So, if you're even in that position where you think that just talking to some crypto people would benefit you, come along and just hang out with us.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, that
Cool.
sounds so cool.
I reckon I'm going to make a prediction. This is my bitch tits prediction for that. I think you guys are going to crack the ton. I think you're going to get 100 people.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're
Bullish on the meetup.
Why not? It's still 2 months.
I
It's still 2
know.
months away. When is it?
That's a
October,
lot.
September,
Yeah,
October.
October 13 to 15.
October. It's still so far away.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
going
a
to get
very
more people,
organised
for sure.
person, so I have to be that many months organised.
And if
that's good.
If
That's
the bull
awesome.
market really kicks off hard, there'll be more people who will want to go.
Yeah, probably.
There'll be more people who are able to go.
That's what I meant.
Hey, there's a couple of
Yeah.
people asking about fucks in the chat. We did chat a bit about it before early in the stream. I've been using it. It's pretty good. I've really been liking it. I really enjoy the ability to create pools with different assets, and the swaps seem to be pretty good. You can get always if you're going to do a swap, you want to swap something, check on PulseX, but also have a check on fucks to see if you get a better deal with less slippage or whatever over there. Or maybe you can do an ARB. There's probably ARBs going on between them as well.
Bro, did you guys hear that now there's routing for V1 PulseX pools, but also that Portal X routes V1 and V2. I think I heard that. Don't quote me if I might be wrong about that, but I think I heard that. The thing that I'm keen for is once someone creates like multi-dex routing that goes fucks everything and just basically
like a matcher.
Exactly. We need like a dex aggregator for PulseChain where it actually like that DeFi llama swap shit where it just looks and finds the best possible path and you just click, boom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Matcha will get onto that?
Dude, I've been tweeting at these mofos and they just all
There's
well, not
there's
all
another
of them,
one.
but most of them.
There's another one coming. Like it's called. I think it's called 8-inch. There's going to be a dex aggregator.
Yeah, it is. I saw it.
Which is kind of surprising. Like, why wouldn't you? If you had something that's called 9-inch, why wouldn't you go bigger and better? Like as a dex aggregator. Why wouldn't you go?
Yeah, if it's aggregating all of them, it should be 10-inch.
Should be a foot or something like.
It should be Red Bull size.
Yeah.
If you're aggregating them all together, it should be bigger.
Yeah, but they went 1 inch underneath. I think that was quite strange.
Do you know who's doing it? Is it a known? Is it a known team?
I've no idea. No idea about it at all.
See, I have no idea if dex aggregation is hard or not. Sorry, Sammy, you go.
No, I'm just wondering who are 9-inch. Are they poor pleb?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they must be the same people buying 9-inch. Or...
No. Sorry, we're talking about 8-inch. It's like a
8-inch
aggregator. Unless they're stealing the brand.
People?
Unless they're stealing the brand.
But that's the thing. They could have done 10-inch. It's better than 9-inch.
Yeah, true.
I would have just made my own, made a different thing.
Call it aggregator.app.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it a brand. I'd probably keep it more like, or if it is by the same people as 9inch, wouldn't you just do like the 9inch, have the aggregator on the 9inch website? Like have
Why
two
would
tabs,
why would
like
you make
swap and aggregate. Like you don't need a
No, but
whole
if
nother
you're-
brand, right?
But if they're making up
Yeah.
their own decks, why would they want to send people to use other ones?
So because I'm just saying, if we assumed that it was the same team as 9inch, I can't find anything on Twitter about this. Are you guys sure that this is
7-inch but girthy.
It's true, Dawsey. Girth's the only thing that matters, boys.
so PulseChain? Short. I've heard a saying, short and thick does the trick. So PulseChain
Short thick does the
DEX
trick aggregator. Do you think it's going to have an effect? Do you think that everything has a sexual connotation in all of our space? Like you got PulseX, right, which is based on like
Pulse. Yeah, even
pulses,
PulseChain was
PulseChain,
pulses.
right? Everything is kind of like sexual in innuendo. Like, is that
Good point.
good long term? Is that smart long term when we want to, or is it it is smart?
It's honest. It's dirty minded and honest.
Dirty minded and honest. That's how you want your money.
So there's a tweet here that claims that PulseX does do DEX aggregation as well as like
cool.
the
They plan to, or they are doing.
It just says DEX aggregator with a green tick next to it. So I don't know.
I think it's
whether it means,
but they haven't.
Like,
this is Power City, yeah. That's Power City.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And they haven't launched all. Are they launching in like little bits at a time or something?
So it's not clear if they mean that they're planning to do it or it actually does it. Right. It says here, PulseX is not only a bridging/routing protocol, it is a native DEX aggregator. It's interesting.
Is there a DEX called BBC?
No, BBC is the incentive token on 9inch. Why is it called BBC? I don't understand that.
Big bonus coin.
Big black cock.
There's another one, Bluey.
So I tweeted at DeFi Llama on the 23rd of this month, asking them to add PulseChain to their, because they do DEX aggregation, but not bridging. So you choose the chain that you want to be on, and then it will look at all the DEXs on that chain, and then you say what assets you want to swap between, and it gives you all the options. And so I don't actually think it does complex routing. You're just picking like one, but it gives you the list and tells you which one you're going to get the best deal on, factoring in fees and slippage. So as an example, if they were to include PulseChain, you could select PulseChain. You say, I want to swap between these assets. And then it would look at all the options and it would be like, so to have like, PulseX V2, PulseX V1, FUX, like depending on the order of which one. And you see how many tokens of the other coin you're going to end up with on each option. And obviously you would just pick the best one unless there's a reason not to. So
Actually, I'll just point out something as well. We're seeing not very much trading going on the ETH chain. So there is quite a good incentive for people who have those that stuff on the ETH chain to bridge it over to PulseChain, so people can, because you can set up on FUX, for instance, you can set up liquidity pools with a number of things in them. So you can set up the wrap version and the Pulse version, and then like you said, 5 or 6 of those or whatever. So it'd be interesting to see if a lot of trading starts going on of ETH chain stuff, but on PulseChain.
Yes. Can I make 2 comments because I'm going to have to get. So one is, you guys were absolutely right. With enough scrolling, I found this tweet by Corey Costa that says, what is 8inch's DEX aggregator for PulseChain? And he's got a video in there that you guys can watch. Maybe he's like interviewed someone or whatever. That was actually from the 14th of this month. So that's been like, that was announced quite a while ago. And the other thing I was going to say is, note the fake volume collectively that occurs when there is routing. So say, just as a very simple example, you say, I want to use Pulse to buy HEX. And the route that it goes through is it first has to change, like it will swap the Pulse for PulseX and then into like, and then uses that to swap that into HEX. I know that that route is not what would happen, but let's just assume that it is. You get, and say it's $100 trade. The volume on the first pair, Pulse to PulseX, is going to show $100 of volume. And then the other LP is also going to show $100 of volume. So sites like Dex Screener and others that look at collective volumes for these chains will report double the volume. And that's with only a single hop. The more pools that it goes through, the more it like doubles, triples, quadruples just off a single trade. So all of this volume is fucking bullshit. And that's not on just on PulseChain. It's on every chain. Then on top of that, if an arb occurs from the swap that you just did, so that someone else, like an arb bot, decides to act on another pair and like buy over here to sell over there, which by the way is not real volume because they're just arbing, that volume all gets included as well, which could
but
also
that's okay.
have multiple hops.
Arbing's part of it. Arbing's part of trade volume.
It's not real
Should
volume.
be.
Like, is it?
Well,
If you wanted to get an idea of how much volume is really being traded on a specific chain, that I don't think arb bots should count because they're a net neutral, like they're buying and then they're immediately selling to make a few cents. So it's not real volume.
You know what I've noticed on a lot of the Fux pools is that it's a lot of very, very small amounts are being traded. Like people are trading like $9 worth of something, $27 worth of something. And I guess that's good because you can on PulseChain because it only costs you a cent or 3 cents or whatever it is to do a swap.
Yeah. And also it's like niche tokens that don't have pools on PulseX or something. Or like I think most of the trading's still going on PulseX.
Yeah.
So the volume over there's like, because obviously remember, incentive tokens, in this case, Fux, incentivize people to provide LP, but it doesn't incentivize people to trade. So if you want volume, you need.
Yeah.
So, but swapping, I think with time, like it's pretty new, and I think the volume will increase over time.
Yeah.
I mean,
the nice thing is you can set up your own makeup of, and so then if you're setting up one and no one else enters, you're just getting all of the fees.
So in theory, right? Like, so the theory of why people incentivize the LPs is if you have a big enough pool, then you end up with people wanting to trade in that pair so that they eat less slippage, right? So if they are incentivizing other asset groupings that are not the same as what's being incentivized over on PulseX, so I've noticed there's like the Maxi Perps are in a group.
Maxi and the Hedron and Icosa.
Stuff like that. Yeah. These are tokens that are not being incentivized for liquidity providing over on PulseX.
Yeah.
You could eventually see where for large orders, you end up with better trade execution, but it requires awareness of people to know that they're going to get better trade execution there, or a DEX aggregator. So a DEX aggregator could be the key to seeing higher volume on exchanges like Fux, because the aggregator doesn't give a shit about who you are or who made it. It just looks purely, where can I get the best deal?
Yeah.
It doesn't have allegiances. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for having me. And I have to go.
Well, we're gonna wind it up. So do we just want to go around and say good evening? Do you have any final last words, Townsend? You can go first if you have to really go. That can be your outro.
Yeah, my outro is the volume.
No
the
worries.
volume's all fake as fuck, boy. And I only realized that once I started using PulseChain. I'm like, wait, they're all fake as fuck. So the volume, those volume metrics that Dex Screener ranks by, when you click on a chain and it says 24-hour volume, $80 million, it's fake as fuck. It's fake as fuck. It's not real. It might.
So all volume in crypto is fake.
You know how everyone always used to say that DEX volume is like the most legitimate volume because you can't be faked because it's on chain?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is also not true because of this phenomenon that I'm talking about with the, like, you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like if you route through two pairs, the volume shows up on both, but it's only one trade. What you were really doing was just buying $100 of HEX with Pulse. But if it goes through multiple things, that volume shows up on every fucking pair on the path. So you get like $500 worth of volume maybe for a $100 trade. And that happens every time. So the volume's probably inflated somewhere between like 5 and 100 times higher than what it really is.
But mostly it doesn't route through a whole lot of different things. Mostly it's just a straight up, if it's a nice big enough pool, it just like goes in and out of that pool.
If that's the case, then on those situations, it's legit. Like it's correctly
that's what happens
counted.
most of the time. Like you can click it and see the routing, and it's very rarely that it goes more than like even one, maybe two.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. That often, especially because the high volume, like when there's high volume, people typically set up LPs that pair those two things together because they see that there's a way to make money there. So maybe it's not as extreme as what I'm estimating, but it is true though. Like that phenomenon that I just explained is actually true. Have fun, everyone. Stay strong. We're almost through the worst of it. We're
good to see you, Jaden.
Sammy, any last words?
No, thanks for watching. Message me if you want to come to the meetup at Sammy Chica. Follow me on Twitter. Good to see you. Thanks for coming over to the channel. Like, subscribe. See you next time. Thanks for having me.
Louis, any last words,
thanks
mate?
For coming.
Final words?
All good. Have fun.
Thanks to everyone in the chat. We appreciate you guys coming over to this channel this week. If you could, please go and subscribe to this channel because we will do other streams on this channel that are not on Discourse Syndicate. So if you just, want to know that they're happening, subscribe and then you'll get the notification. All right. Appreciate you all. Thanks, Sammy. Thanks, Bluey, and thanks, Tangent. We'll catch you guys next week, hopefully on Discourse Syndicate still. If not, we'll be here. Peace.